Zach Hall here in Hyman, Kentucky at the Appalachian Artisan Center with our featured show guest, Charles Parker Boggs.
Yes, greetings. Hello, Zach.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be here.
But first, I want to get to know you a little bit because getting to know the artist sometimes can help you enjoy their art a little more.
Yes, sometimes. So I was born in Pineville, Kentucky. My parents are from Harlan, Kentucky. We moved around a bit after that. Michigan, Ohio, Texas, West Virginia, North Carolina. I went to undergrad school at Danville at Averett University, and I got my Master of Fine Arts degree from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Both fantastic schools, great professors. Highly recommend them, of course. And I taught at UNCG as an adjunct for a couple of years, but I had this desire to return to the mountains. If you're from the mountains, eventually you want to come back. You make your way back, and so I did that 20 years ago. So I've been in Eastern Kentucky. This is my creative home.
Yeah, and you can see that in your artwork. There's a lot of Eastern Kentucky in the artwork itself. I don't see a lot of Texas. You know?
No. But it's so, over time, it's seeped into my work. It's, I hold deep meaning for this region, and so it's filtered its way in.
Is it safe to say you've been an artist your whole life?
Yeah, that's safe to say. I think, I didn't have a choice. Sometimes you don't have a choice. I just was born creative. That's my nature. Mm-hmm. And if you are creative, you need to find that outlet, or your soul will kind of wither. So.
Right. I preach that a lot.
Like,
you need that creative outlet, that side that lets things out. And I'm excited to hear about some of this art because I feel like some of your creative side came out, some of your memories and stories, and because your artwork, it has a lot of inspiration from Eastern Kentucky. I know, being from Eastern Kentucky, I look at it, I don't right away. I don't see it. Don't say like the folk art that a lot of people are used to in this area. Mm-hmm. Would you say that your style is somewhat different than what people are used to?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I would say that. Because I don't specifically try to make things look like from a certain area. Mm-hmm. But things seep in. So I'm not trying to look like, ooh, there's an Eastern Kentucky artist. Yeah. I'm not trying to do that. It's just, I take my daily life and filter it through my artwork. So if you're here, it's going to filter through. Oh, yeah. I mean, so I'm influenced by my daily life, and I think art, reflects the tone of the times. So, but so maybe that's why my art doesn't look like so regional.
What's your favorite media?
Oh, I like them all. I do a lot of acrylic painting. I've done a lot of digital drawing now. These prints are drawn on the iPad. So I found great joy in doing that.
Enjoying all this different media. When you sit down at your blank canvas, whatever it be, what's your biggest inspiration? What takes over?
I don't, I just sit down and I feel like I'm a medium sometimes, and I'm pulling things out of the ether into existence. It's like over time I realized I'm trying to understand the unknown. That's what I'm trying to do, and that's like, how do you do that? But there was an artist, Philip Guston. He talked about being in the studio, and when you're in the studio, you're there with all these voices in your head. You're there with your past art professors. You're there with art you're there. Your parents, your family, people are in your head while you're working. And as you're really working, they leave the room. And when you're really working, you leave the room. So I try to get to that place where I'm not really cognizant of what's happening. And sometimes I get there.
I think it's interesting you say that, because I've heard people say, like true professionals, true creative people, they don't think about what they're doing. Their body, their mind just takes over and does it. But whether it's basketball players, they don't think where they're going to go. They just do it. It's there.
Right.
Is that how your art is? You just are led?
Yeah, if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
if I'm lucky.
Those are the good days. The spirit takes over.
Yeah, the spirit takes over, and then there you go. And they're like, well, how'd you get that idea? I don't know sometimes. I don't know where it comes. It just flows out, and that's when you know you're in the groove, I think.
In the zone, yeah.
In the zone, yeah.
So you want to start by telling
Sure.
us something about this piece?
I'm talking about the big 3-ring circus of memory with sideshow. So this is, of all the pieces in the show, this is the most autobiographical. This is my life story in a sense. I mean, these are memories. There are elements in this that are my life. And so I feel like this is a very personal piece, and I feel like the stories that I've revealed myself here, and I think, oh, everybody understands me now, but not really. I mean, it's a hidden thing, but I feel like I've put it out there in a sense. For example, there's a bicycle. I used to race BMX bicycles, and so that's found its way. And I raced in Michigan, and took a trip to Harlan to visit my grandfather, my grandparents, my family. And my father said, oh, show your grandfather what you can do on your bicycle. So I took my bicycle to the top of the hill. So now Michigan, where it's flat, this is eastern Kentucky, where the hills are. So I took it up there, and I started pedaling as fast as I can. And then I hit the driveway, and I bounced in the air. And as I came down, I put my brakes on, my handbrakes, bounced again, straight into a trailer. So head first into a trailer, I knocked unconscious. And on one side, there's a pile of rocks I could have landed on. Another, there was a Jeep that I could have landed on. Well, I was smacked in the middle, which was fortunate. But it knocked all the paneling off my aunt's trailer. And the telephone off the other side, it made quite a dent inside the trailer. But I survived. I was okay.
But that's what lives, and I see the tire now, right? Look at
Yeah,
the
yeah,
tire
yeah.
level.
That's right. And the forks.
Yep.
Because I bent the forks. So it's just like, it was a red line. That's what
Yeah.
my BMX, still have it. It's not in great shape, but I still have it. So that's a little bit of a story in this picture.
With this piece being more of your autobiography,
Yeah.
it's almost like a memoir, too, right?
It
This
is,
your
yeah.
memoir.
And each year I add to it. I add to the story.
And so, even as fans of your artwork, they can see your story grow
Yeah,
and see
yeah. It
more
will
and more of your
expand.
art tell that story.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us another memory you got here. Spill some more beans.
Spill some more beans. Well, there's a section here relates to a story when I lived in Michigan. I was walking home from school with friends. It was in the middle of winter, snowing. It's very cold. It's cold in Michigan. And there was a lake there. We decided to walk on the frozen lake. It was a lot of fun. Then I got too close to the water main that was pouring into the lake. Well, I went under. I slid into the water. I had moon boots on, so I was kind of buoyant. But I went under, and I'm guessing my friends pulled me out. But it's like once I hit that water, it's just kind of, it was so cold that I felt like I separated from my body or something for a little bit. But I was out. They ran off because they knew that was bad. I mean, I started walking home. Somebody picked me up and brought me home. And I remember a lesson that I learned because I lied about it to my parents. I said, oh, a big kid came in and pushed me in the river, and my father discovered that was untrue when he went up there and just saw footprints on the ice. So that was got caught in a lie. Don't lie.
Yeah.
Lying's bad. And so
Parents always find out.
they do find out. And it's an embarrassing story.
All right, so you want to show me the next piece you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Let's move our way over here to Excalibur.
Excalibur. See, you already know the name. Yeah, this is a sculpture that I created. It's obviously based on the Excalibur legend, right? The tale of, and the sword and the stone. Only a righteous person could pull the sword out of the stone and become the king. Well, that was King Arthur, right? He was the righteous man. He could pull the sword out of the stone, and he became the king. So in Kentucky, we're looking for that person who can pull the sword out of the chunk of coal, rescuing Kentucky from, that coal past, how coal is not as profitable, not as it's, been fading away for years. And every politician has talked about, saving Eastern Kentucky. So we're waiting on the person who is righteous enough to pull the sword out of the chunk of coal and bring us to that new future.
So it's safe to assume this piece is directly influenced by this area.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah.
So if I pulled that out right now, I'd be like the ruler of Eastern Kentucky.
Well, if you're righteous, if you want that,
I'm saying if I pull it out, right?
If you want to accept that responsibility, Zach, it's a tough one.
Maybe there's somebody that can, but
yeah.
And what about the black ooze from the sword?
Yeah, I tell you what I've noticed is, like I talked about, artists don't always know what they're doing. So I have this black ooze that, was like a design element, and using it in my art when I realized that it represents chaos. Like that black ooze is chaos seeping into competing with order. It's kind of at war, chaos and order. So I didn't know that that's what that was, and eventually I'm like, that's what that is.
And it seems like a lot of your art too has like this flowing, almost melting design to it, or is that like a subconscious thing to where your brain just draws this?
Yeah, it must be, and it must be. I feel like everything is connected, so it just kind of flows together. Like, I just have this. I guess I see the world in 3D too, but very 2D plane. Like, if I look at you, I see your shoulder here, but then I see the glass, and so visually you're touching that glass in a 2D world. I don't know, but it's like everything is kind of connected. So that's
cool.
partly how I see it.
So before we go to this next piece, I just want to say, it's like from one side to the other, it's like we came from the artwork on the wall into like living artwork. I guess the world you've created. Yeah. And I mean, the cameras don't do it justice. Like, if people could come down here and see this, it is its own world, and I love that. Tell us about this piece.
So this piece here, sculpture I created, has a very fancy Latin name that I won't pronounce. I'll give you the translation. It's cut off your robot hand and seek truth. So here is a robot arm and hand down here that's been severed with his axe on this tree stump, which has references elsewhere, but the robot hand is holding this smartphone-shaped, surreal smartphone device in its hand. So you're disconnecting from technology in a way. I guess that's my visual severing of that. And on the tree stump is the Bible. And there's a page out that has the Latin title of the piece. So, seek truth. That's looking biblically at seeking truth. And then if you follow that down, there's a folder here with the number 79 on it, which is a reference to a book called The Exegesis. But there are 3 names written on that piece of paper sticking out there. The first name is Swedenborg. Emanuel Swedenborg was a man of many talents, but he was a theologian, inventor, scientist, philosopher. And at the age of 53, he was hit with a spiritual awakening, he describes it as, and then after that experience wrote 18 or 19 books, his own theology. But he said that, the Lord awakened him and he had new eyes. And so that happened to him. The next person is William Blake, who was an English poet, artist, who also had visions and, spoke to angels and had this experience in his life. Then the third name on the page is Philip K. Dick, who died at 53, incidentally, but he had an experience in his life. I believe it was on, he called it 2/3/74. This is the day that he had his awakening spiritual experience that was so powerful that he wrote a book called The Exegesis that was 9,000 pages long. I mean, he was very serious about that experience he had. He lived in alternate universes. He talked about. He did a interview in France. It's just a remarkable interview. You can find it online. But if you don't know who he is, his short stories influenced. I mean, that's what Blade Runner is from, his short story, and Minority Report, Man in the High Castle. He's the first one I know that talked about. First one that I know of that talked about the simulation and life being a computer simulation, and it's fascinating stuff. But so I don't know if this is because I'm 53 now, and I don't know if I'm like worried that at 53 I'm going to have some kind of new awakening of some sort, or maybe I already have, or I mean, I would be very afraid of that possibility, though, because it's life-changing. But those are three people who have done that. So this piece is about spirituality and the divine and your understanding of that, and the use of technology. And I don't know if this is a warning. Maybe it's a warning. Mm-hmm. I didn't intend to sit down and say, I'm going to make a warning about technology or this or that, but it's just, what I brought into existence.
Well, after hearing you talk about the ooze and stuff, too, it's almost like the ooze, the chaos, is the hydraulic fluid of this robot.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, it's how you interpret it. And,
yep.
And I like that about your art, too. It's very open to interpretation.
Yeah.
Like your hamburger.
Yeah, well, yeah. For me, it's got to work on a deeper level.
Yeah, and I love that stuff. Like a lot of my jokes, Charles, people don't get because it's really deep in my head.
That's right. So. Well, yeah. Well, and I am playing games with myself in a way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That trickster side of, art. I think is one of those. Should be one of those safe places that you can put it out there. Art is the place where you put it out there, even though it may be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or, and I don't edit my work. I don't edit my ideas. I don't say, I can't do that, or I can't do that. I just let it flow out. Yeah. I mean, I try to put, surround my things with myself with good things and good ideas, so that filters out. I don't want to, just introduce chaos totally into the world,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now with your art, all your pieces, and stuff, like, do you ever sell art? Do you ever?
Yeah. I mean, that's. Yeah, I do sell art. It's like, it's not why I make it. Mm-hmm. I had a professor at UNCG that the first day, we started arguing. I don't recommend that, arguing with your professor in front of other students on the first day of class. It's a bad idea, but, I was younger. And so our argument was, you can't make art to put under your bed. You got to put it out there for a dialogue. And I said, well, no, you don't. You can very much make art, put it under your bed. So I don't think either one of us really understood what we were both saying, because it's both true. Mm-hmm. You can make art and put it under your bed, and that'd be fine. It was my idea, I guess, that I'm not making art for,
everybody to see and talk about. It's
yeah,
more of
in
an
a
outlet.
sense. Yeah, I can't help it.
Yeah.
You know, because there are artists like Henry Darger who just made art in his room. Nobody knew about it till he died, and then it was released, and it was this amazing discovery. But, you know, this is me putting my work out into the public in a dialogue and not putting it under my bed. I don't have any room anymore under my bed for my artwork, so it is out here. But both things are true, and we got over that later and became friends. But
I definitely think it'd be hard to fit this whole trailer.
yeah, so this is me putting it out there for people to see and talk about and have a dialogue with. And
I hope you get
I
the
hope so
opportunity
as well.
to like spread all this art around the world, because it's truly something that's awesome right here in Southeast Kentucky.
Yeah.
From here, like
yeah, thank you.
I really believe in promoting it and showing off the talented people. from
Yeah,
this area.
thank you. Well, you know, I've worked hard on finding my authentic voice. And you know, I've done various styles, I guess, but where I am now feels like the most authentic.
Yeah.
It's who I am and where I've gotten in my ability and talent and thinking and all of that. So I hope so.
And I've known you for like 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
And I can see like how you sort of like honed in, you know, like
Yeah.
I've seen how your art has went from where I knew you. It's just become a lot more of this style because it's, I guess, yeah, what you said, it's your identity, how you're finding it in the art. And that's awesome.
It's how I communicate.
It's awesome.
And some people can understand it, and then some people can't. So.
Well, I appreciate you giving us a little tour here.
Oh no, thank you. I'm glad that you came out and wanted to talk about it. And you know, it's open until October the 23rd.
Yeah, and then of course, I'm gonna guess they're gonna have you back out. This stuff's awesome. I appreciate
I hope
it.
so. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.